In a few moments, I'm going to talk to Marco from Kurz, who's responsible for the cold foiling units and cold foil transfers from Kurz. And Marco, thank you very much for being here with your label weeks. This is, of course, not just labels, because it's also packaging in a big scale. Before we talk about all the nice applications you can do with this, let's just make something that very clear. From an environmental perspective, right? What goes in, what comes out?
A very clear question. Thanks and welcome, Martin. So it's very simple to explain. I hope it will come out technically simple, but there is still a lot of confusion and maybe wrong messages out there in the market. So yes, our product comes, if the standard product comes along with a 12 micron PET carrier. That's what also the part of the plastic, what is being brought into the market, into this process. So you put this roll, this beautiful roll, you put it one of the units which a customer has on top of his press. And afterwards, and now comes the answer, the same 12 micron carrier is being rewinded and being as a part of the production, which is then needs to be treated, could be recycled, is being
because of course the foil that you need on the cardboard is on the cardboard now.
Yes. But what is missing is exactly the very thin, super thin layers which we do lacquer on top of the PET carrier, and this is brought to the packaging, to the label substrate. And these layers are roughly in an area of 2 micron. And within this 2 micron carrier thickness, you have the aluminum layer inside, which is by a factor 10 still thinner than the overall package. So at the end of the day, the decoration is around 2 micron and is part of the packaging. Now consider a standard carton board, 200, 300 grams. So if you put that into relation, it's a very thin, super thin decoration layer. And this probably also answers your next question, your possible next question.
Which is, with cold foil, that is a dying market, isn't it?
No, it's not a dying market at all, because this is the only chance, or now into an industry scale process and cost-effective process, to offer a decoration solution to the industry, and your packaging can become full part of the recycling chain. And that's a big difference, and this is why my answer is for the next years I see a big growth, because I see many brand owners who are at the moment still using the laminates, matte pol, or how it is called in the industry. So you have a pre-metallized treated carton board, fully metallized, with a plastic layer on top, which stays on the packaging. With this decoration, you don't bring any plastic on top. You make thinner layers. The other one is very thick. And there comes another big thing. If you have a fully pre-metallized carton board, you have to hide the areas where you do not want to have decoration. So you need opaque white. You have to print opaque white at least in 2 stations, maybe in 3. So
just to make sure that you have the opaqueness that you want.
And just to make sure it does not look grayish, you want a white. But with cold transfer, you just make the decoration where you want.
Precisely, so you don't need to have like full surface. So, so just to be 100%, the people that are doing a lot of things that needs metallization, they of course have these kind of units. We have here on your machine, you have a wind foil and an eagle system. You also mentioned Heidelberg are one of the suppliers of these. But for the printing companies who only have limited, let's say, usage or customers for these kind of things, they would typically buy the pre-made, as you mentioned, right? Or do they work with? I mean, would a customer who like this, will they also supply just the sheets, you think, or as a subcontractor, or how does it work?
It's possible. I think it starts from the brands. They look into their.
So they find a printing company basically capable of doing whatever.
And if there is a printing company now doing jobs and not having the possibilities of code transfer, they may outsource. So they do the pre-foiling, the sheets come back, and they just print on top. It's also possible. But I would say, as you mentioned, there is Eagle from Mike King, there is Windfoil, there is even Manroland is offering their own unit, Heidelberg, Foistar. There are some smaller companies also offering like a retrofit possibility. So you don't have to buy a new press. You just retrofit your existing press if it's long enough, because you need 2 stations, one for glue, one for the foil transfer. and then at least 4 color overprint and the varnishing unit. So if you want to go inline, which you should do, you go
6, 7 colors.
6 colors and 1 lacquering unit.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of machines out on the market now where you can retrofit it for, let's say, depending what you want, a low cost, medium cost, high cost, depending who you are as a print shop. Who do you want to become, or who are you now? How many jobs do you have? But I think there is a big push to the market from the brands.
So, Marco, what you're talking about here is with the cold foil, we basically have an opportunity to create sustainable packaging that still gives that positive impression to the customers when they go to the shops, right?
Yes.
And I mean, you talk about a growth potential. This is just because packaging is one of the growth areas and people need to have something to stand out from, or do you see any other trends in that perspective?
For sure, packaging, there's a growth. Even if there would not be a growth, there is a change of decoration technologies within the existing market already. Yeah? So I'm already foreseeing a growth from the existing market. If we would say now there's a stop, no growth anymore from packaging at all,
there will be a growth here.
There will be a swift change from one decoration technology to the other. But for sure, there will be always new packaging if things get, let's say, cost efficient, or if the process is cost efficient. There are new laws coming to the market, how much decoration should be on a packaging, what is allowed or not.
And it's funny because before you mentioned the plastic thing, I think European legislation is talking about eliminating laminations, for example, right?
Right.
Or at least plastic-based laminations, right? So I think that is again an opportunity to say something that, okay, it's environmental friendly, it looks great, and you eliminate plastic, right?
Yes, just to give you an example.
Okay, now you're challenging myself.
Now I'm challenging you, yeah? So you have 2 packaging, and both are looking by design like the same, right?
Yeah.
So one is the old-fashioned way with a laminate, with plastic, and the other one is cold transfer. Yeah? So probably you will see immediately one big difference. I'm sure if you look at the overall appearance, not only from the shininess, but also from colors, you might notice something.
And now I'm a total fool if I can't see it, right?
I look at the over. I give you a hint because this is my main point, and you see, this looks grayish.
It looks what?
Grayish.
The
white is more grayish.
In the cardboard, you mean, basically. Yeah.
And this is white.
Yeah.
Cardboard white.
Yeah.
We did not make it extraordinary bad. It's just standard.
So this is basically like opaque white printed on top of the full metallization.
Correct. With a plastic on top.
Yeah. And this is basically where you have the where you only use the metallization where you need it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And now this is the big difference. Number one, you have plastic. You will have problems when it comes to the recycling chain, de-inking especially.
Yeah.
Sorting, de-inking, all the different steps of recycling. This has a very negative balance in running through all these processes. With cold foil, there is already one big thing. You only have a decoration and a metallization where you want.
Yeah.
Here, if you would take away the inks, the colors, you would have this metallization everywhere.
Yeah.
So you are going to hide.
Yeah.
Now think about it. You are hiding something what is already there.
And as you say, you use more ink, you use plastic.
Yes.
So the cost of this is also more expensive than this one.
This is what I'm saying, or what I noticed here.
Yeah.
Because if you do this, some printers who do not have a press which is long enough, if they have to print in two-station opaque white, they have to make 2 runs.
Yeah.
Here, you do 1 run,
Yeah.
and everything looks fine.
Yeah.
And now there comes another thing. What you just said it. Especially in the EU, there is some legislation coming out that only on the packaging, there is only part of the packaging area allowed to have a decoration.
Ah.
Now imagine you could only metalize 60 or 70%. Here,
Gone.
you're out immediately.
Yeah.
Here, 60, 70. If your customer comes up with this, you reduce the design, the artwork, only having 50% of the area metallized.
Yeah.
And that's just simple as it is.
Yeah.
You produce a printing plate.
Yeah.
Every print house is doing it by himself.
Yeah.
Printing plate for the glue.
Yeah.
With a new design.
Yeah.
The transfer product always follows the printed glue. And you have a different job within short. You can change jobs very easily. So this is the reason with these 2 pieces, it's exactly good to explain and to understand why cold transfer will grow this market segment and why there's a lot of decoration. If you go to a supermarket now, there is still a lot like this. and now many brands are pushing this change to them.
But I would think when I see things like this, also that it makes it, I wouldn't say easier, but at least a good conversation when you talk to printing companies and converters now, because you can make an ROI calculation on how much, if they don't have technology like this, they can basically start looking into, okay, we have a legislation issue, we have a product issue, how much do we actually, how long time does it take to repay that investment? Because, I mean, I know they cost money, but they are not that expensive compared to if you look at the rest of the press.
Right.
And basically, if you have this kind of foils, as far as I know, it's also cheaper than buying pre-foiled sheets from your paper merchant, right?
Pre-foiled sheets, depending in which country.
Yeah.
If you're in Asia, probably it's much cheaper than in US or in Europe.
Okay.
So if you directly compare the buying price in average of cold transfer product to the pre-metallized sheet, you might find that the pre-metallized sheet is probably cheaper.
Yeah.
But that's only one point of view. You have to go into production. And there's another point. If you have to print opaque white, you have to slow down the press speed. Here, we have customer just now in US where we tested, it's like running 18,000 sheets per hour foiling.
Wow.
But this is not the standard speed. I would say 15.
But it's still like an example, because I take that it's also depending on how much foil you apply and how complex the forms are in order to make sure that it doesn't break.
But the message is, cold transfer is not limiting the press speed. Printing an opaque white
is. Okay, so we have been standing in front of this roll here for some time. You actually have, I mean, this is a standard kind of product that Kurz has been selling for a long time, right?
Correct. No, not so long time. It's now since 2 years.
Okay.
It's our Alufin KPS SX Plus. It's a great product. It fits to the needs of the printers. It has a good speed. It has a good finishing. You can do fine details, solid areas, some half-tone effects if you want. Especially if you overprint it, it has a very good adhesion to the glue underneath, to the inks on top. So I would say this is the standard.
Okay.
It's a great product.
So this is a proven product, basically.
Yes.
And now we're going to look at something that is brand new.
Brand new.
Or
and
actually almost brand new.
And that's really hot. Because this, what you see now, it's not just a smaller roll. This is something the market has not seen before.
Yeah, because just to put it very short, the same number of square meters, the number of square meters on this roll is the same as on this roll.
Yes. Right. Let me use the unit of length, because this one is 12,000 meter. This is 12,000 meter as well. And what is the big difference? It just comes up with a thinner carrier. So the first idea, before talking about all the advantages with this product, is already, of course, we are bringing plastic to the industry. Of course, there is some recycling programs, but what we do here different is we are bringing half of the amount of plastic to the industry only.
So just to ask a stupid question, so the metallization part of it, is that the same as on the other one?
It's all the same. The only difference is here you have a 12 micron PET carrier. Here we have a 6 micron PET carrier.
When I see something that is so thin, because I was amazed when you touch it, because it is so thin that you probably hardly see it on camera, right? I would say that if you put it in a machine like the Eagle or the Windfoil that you have here on your Manroller machine, I mean, doesn't it just break? I mean, because my logical sense that is like if you have very thin paper, it breaks very easily. So how is it?
You're right. I mean, this is also the first question many customers are asking me when we are introducing it to them. But to be very clear, no, it's not breaking. You always have to come up with a certain carefulness when you treat the rolls.
Of course.
As soon as it gets a damage at the edge, no matter which thickness, it will break in the machine.
You know that from your alufoils back in your kitchen, or
then it's done. And no matter how thick the foil is, right. And I mean, there is different technology of the machines in the market. Some machines are pulling back the foil, which I would say this has the strongest impact on the carrier, because in the moment of when the cylinder releases, the foil is being pulled back. But we tested all these. And it doesn't.
And that is one of the great things about your demo center here in Kurz, because you have actually working equipment both in offset and in flexo and digital, of course. So I mean, you have
and we can
good
show
testing capabilities, right?
Right. If a customer is really careful, says he doesn't want to see it on his machine, we can invite him, come here. We have 2 different units with different technologies where you can simulate it, but we tested also at Heidelberg at the demo center, at Manroller, and KBA, so everywhere.
when I see something like this, one thing is, okay, let's say that I believe you when you say it's as strong as the other one. But what about, because, you know, I would think that when you have something that is thinner, you may not need as much glue as you do on the other one, or is that not true either?
That's not exactly the point. With the thinner carrier,
Yeah.
in the moment of application, I mean, offset cold transfer is different to hot stamping. Hot stamping, you come with a heated brass die, you have pressure.
It stays there.
But here is like a kiss. It's a soft touch.
Yeah.
And due to the thinner carrier,
Yeah.
in the moment of this very little pressure which the machine gives to the polyester carrier, the transfer of the layers, the release from the carrier is influenced because the little pressure you have a much better release and a more softer release. But still, all the design stays very clean. So if you do a halftone, a rendering, a screening, perfectly.
And that is, of course, because the metallization part is the same.
It's still the same.
So it's only the carrier. So basically, people can choose both because you can have more. I take that you can have more weight or more meters on your existing machine. That is one thing. I also take that when you have things like this, you have less waste. That is better for the environment. You have the same qualities from a printing perspective on the rolls. Anything else that? What about the price? Is it the same, or is it almost the same, or I mean, should you? I mean, you have all the advantages, of course, but I'm just saying,
So we did not talk about all the advantages. So for sure, this is our standard.
We forgot something, right?
This is our premium.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the racing horse.
Okay.
This is the one to drive the performance in print houses.
Okay.
It's all about efficiency.
Because you can, of course, run your offset presses for a longer time, so there's fewer stops, and of course, it has a higher value.
Right. So we see here there's a smaller row, but the idea, of course, is you use, instead of 12,000 meters, you use 24 or 20,000 meters. So you run the machine longer without a stop. You can, due to this soft PT carrier, you need, let's say, 20 to 30% less glue, depending a little bit on the job, with what you compare, what kind of glue, but you need less glue. And of course, from the coverage, from the effects, from the design work, you can do what you want.
Yeah, you actually told me, maybe we can go and see, because you said there were some examples of things that you could not do if it was not because of this technology, right?
Yes. I'm choosing here now one of these samples because this is the best to show. It's just now a label material, but this is not relating only to label. So this is a structured
material. That was what you have printed today. I saw that, yeah.
This is a structured material. You see, if you touch here.
Yeah. It's a structure from
the paper. It comes with the paper.
Okay.
And if you do this decoration with a standard product, it still looks good with our SX Plus, but you will see some areas where the coverage is just not able to get into the structure.
Basically, because of the transfer thing makes it more difficult to get flexible into the.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So with a 6 micron, it fits better into the structure, and then you get a much better decoration. So with this product, cardboards now suddenly are able to be decorated, which you could not just decorate. I mean, everything has limits. And this code transfer technology, this market is quite mature now. There is a lot of standard cardboards. Now more recycled cardboards are getting a topic, but also some fancy cardboards. So the possibilities of cardboard to decorate now is now much bigger with this new slim product than it has been before. And this is another outstanding thing. And with using less glue.
Yeah. I can't help thinking, and I can't remember the story about it, but this morning when we had the first walkthrough of your company here, this is also an example of something that is pretty unique, right? Because you have, is it true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it with this product?
I mean, the uniqueness of what you are mentioning probably here is it's coming up.
I can't open it.
I mean, coat foil on a good cardboard is standard.
Okay.
Coat foil on a recycled cardboard or on lousy recycled cardboard, that's the challenge.
So you found the worst you could find here.
And we find a way with blankets, with the right glue, but also with the right foil.
Yeah. Is this the slim foil here, or?
This has been the.
Can you see it? Or?
It depends on the. No, I cannot see it here. This is the slim. Yes.
The slim. Okay.
Yeah. So to have a real comparison, we should look onto the left pocket.
Yeah.
And then get out the same sample.
Oh, you have it with a different.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is one of our latest marketing box. I'm usually, this is always part of my traveling kit because it's so easy and it's so nice to show. What we did here is we asked several paper suppliers to send us ugly cardboards.
Yeah. It's
And
funny.
they did.
It's funny you mentioned this, by the way, because I remember I spoke to a company, a packaging company in Denmark, some months ago.
Yeah.
And they said with the difficulties of getting enough supply from the paper, sometimes the brand owners even have to accept that they don't have the same quality.
Yes.
And now basically what you're saying is that some of these technologies enable you to produce maybe not the same but better.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And that's also another argument. What I'm being approached out there in the market where customers are telling me, we can't get our standard cardboard, I need to use a cheaper one. Or maybe due to cost, I have to select a cheaper one. And then the challenge is, how can you code for it? And that's a big topic because many problems already start just printing the glue.
Yeah.
So if you have the wrong setup, the wrong blanket, the wrong glue, and you have a very bad cardboard which easily it gets to delaminate or pick up fibers.
Yeah, or bend in the process, basically.
So if in station 1 the problem starts, you cannot solve it later. The best foil will not solve it. So, but with the right foil technology, with the slim, and with the right glue and the right blanket, usually we always offer the package to a customer. Doesn't mean that our products only work with these items, but it can work with everything. But we do troubleshooting a lot out there.
Okay.
Yeah?
Marco, I think it's been fantastic to get the introduction to the new foil. I think it's fantastic to talk to you. I mean, you know so many things, right?
I hope I can answer all your questions.
No,
that would be enough.
I probably have too few questions because, again, it's not where I have the most of experience here, but it was really great to talk to you. So
thanks, Martin.
Good to meet you.
And I'm sure we will meet again because this,
I hope.
Remember my words, this industry is growing.
We will then see each other because we're growing as well.
We will have a lot of touch points here as well.
That sounds great. Thank you very much.